Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab. If you're new to my channel, I'm Yori and I do bring you beauty and makeup related videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Central, so 3 brand new videos every single week. To my existing YouTube friends, I'm so happy you're here again. Today's video is going to be just to get ready with me, so I hope you like the look. This is definitely a special occasion or holiday look. I'm trying out some new products from my Ulta Beauty haul. If you saw my 6,000 points Ulta Beauty haul, I have a lot of new goodies that I'll be trying with you today, and I will give you my first impressions and thoughts at the end of the video. I hope you like the look. Let's just go ahead and get started. I'm using a new palette today, and so I don't know how it's going to be in terms of fallout, so I want to go ahead and do my eyes first. I'm going to prime my eyes with the Milani eyeshadow primer. And I'm going to set that down with the shade Stripped from the palette. I'm using a Dose of Color shader brush. Not because I want to use my Stila mermaid shadow, and also because this blue is the only colorful shadow in the palette really. I'm gonna use that. I'm going to take a Zoeva 227 crease brush and the shade 1988. Now with a slightly more pointed crease brush, I'm going to go into the shade Lola. This one was really pigmented. I'm going to go into my original brush and I'm just going to try to blur out the edges a little bit. I didn't add any extra product. Me and cool tones, they really scare me. My own skin is so warm that it's very easy for me to go instantly dead. I'm going to take a little bit more of the shade Stripped and sort of go over the edges. Right, with a MAC 239, I'm going to go into the shade Midnight, and I'm going to pack it on my lid. I want to use this as a base for my Stila shadow. I'm getting a lot of fallout and it's not really translating that blue. So this has definitely gone smoky, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and blend out the edges of the blue. I'm going to go back into the shade 1988. So essentially this is turning into a blown out smoky eye. It wasn't exactly what I was going for. I think it could still look nice. So let's go ahead and go into the Stila Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow, and this one is in the shade Into the Blue. And I'm going to use a MAC 231 to sort of clean up the edges. Stila glitters are so pretty, they fix everything. But at this point it's so opaque that it really wouldn't have even mattered what I put underneath, I don't think. Just trying to let it set before I open my eyes too much, because my hooded eyes have a tendency to ruin looks like this. I'm definitely gonna go in with false lashes for this look, so I'm only going to apply my mascara and not use lash primer because I want the focus to be on the falsies. And I am about to go in with some falsies. I'm going to use the Violet Voss Wisp It Real Good lashes. Alright, so there's the look with the lashes and mascara applied. I'm gonna do the rest of my face. This look is turning so extra, and you guys are watching this on the 24th, but I'm actually filming on the 23rd, and what I have to do today is go shopping. This is the look that I'm going to be wearing to the mall, so that should be interesting. I do want to try the Anastasia Liquid Glow, and so I'm going to mix it with a matte foundation. So this is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Pro Matte Foundation, and I have mine in the shade 107. That's probably way more than I need. Because that's a mattifying foundation, I'm going to go in with the Too Faced HANGOVER-X. I'm blending out my foundation using a Marc Jacobs Face 1 brush. I got this in a Marc Jacobs mystery box that I did unbox here on my channel, and I was very excited to receive a brush. I'm working on it for a 5 in 5 video featuring Marc Jacobs, since this is a new product for me. As far as the luminosity of the foundation, I think that the liquid highlighter did add a little bit of a luminosity to it, because usually this foundation is really matte on me, and it's still matte, but it doesn't look as dry as it normally does. Next, I'm going to be going in with the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer, and hopefully this shade is going to work for me. I purchased this one online. I picked it up in the shade that I wear my Naked Skin concealer. I'm not going to color correct or anything else because I want to see how the coverage of the concealer really is. I'm going to do one eye at a time because it already feels quite dry. Coverage is really good, and the shade is having a brightening effect. I mean, it's definitely a difference. On first impression, it is drying, but because I blended it right away, I think it was better. The fact that the Beauty Blender is damp keeps it from drying out. It is definitely brightening. It feels like it's set itself. There is absolutely like no stickiness underneath my eye. Next, I'm going in with my Marc Jacobs Perfection Powder, and I'm going to try to set my under eyes with that. I do not need any more coverage, but I do want to set my face before I go in and bronze and blush and all the other complexion products. So I'm going to use my MAC Next to Nothing powder. I have mine in the shade Medium Dark. I want to get a really good feel for the eyes before I apply any more complexion products or select the lipstick, so I'm going to zoom you back in and we're going to finish off the eyes. This also will give you a really good look at how the concealer looks. I think it looks really good actually. I mean, but it is drying, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just going to smoke out my lower lash line. I'm going to start with this Real Techniques for Ulta Beauty. It's an angled liner brush. It's number 217, and I'm going to take the shade 3 AM, and I'm just going to apply that right underneath my lash line. I'm just sort of stamping it along my lashes, and then I'm bringing it up to meet the top lash color. Alright, now with the Morphe M507 that I just hauled, I'm going to fill in a little bit of the patchiness, like especially right here. I'm going to take a little bit of the shade Lola and fill that in. I'm not sure why it got so patchy there. The same brush, and just use a color switch, and I'm going to take the shade 1988 and I'm going to run it all along the bottom lash line. I'm getting a little bit of fallout, which I'm just brushing away. I can tell I'm really gonna like this brush for under the lash line because it's kind of like a pencil brush, but it's a little bit softer, and so it blends out color really nicely rather than packing it on. I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Lola shade. Alright, that's pretty good. Now I don't know if I should line my eyes with black or brighten them a bit. Usually I brighten, but this is a really smoky look, so I think I'm gonna line them with black. I'm going to use my trusty Marc Jacobs highliner in the shade Blacker. Speaking of Marc Jacobs, did you guys see the advertisements on Marc Jacobs Beauty Instagram? They're pretty racy. Okay, so there's a close-up of the eyes, and hopefully you can see the concealer as well. I did not apply an inner corner highlight, so let's see what we can use. I just want to brighten the area. I don't want to add any more shimmer because, so I'm just going to go in with the shade Stripped, which is the one that I use to set my eyeshadow base, and I'm just going to place it right there just to brighten that area. I'm going to use the same shade on the brow bone. I think I'm happy with the eyes. I do have to apply mascara to my lower lash line. On my lower lash line, I always use this one from MAC. It's the Extended Play GIGABLACK Lash, but I've been wanting to try the Clinique one. I know that they make a mascara that's called Bottom Lash Mascara. If you have tried it, let me know what you think of it. For my complexion, I'm going to use the NARS Board the Plage palette. Emma, you asked me to compare it to the Banque de Sable. So I have the Banque de Sable palette right here. So let's go ahead and compare. Here are the two palettes side by side. There is a repeated shade. The first one in the Banque de Sable palette is the shade Rivage or Rivage, and that one is repeated in the Board the Plage. That's the only repeated shade. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to swatch the others side by side. Okay, these are the 4 highlighters in the Board the Plage palette. So there they are. These are the 3 shades in the Banque de Sable palette. That top one is the one that's repeated. So those are the highlighters. So in my personal opinion, which I did tell you in the other video, the only reason to really get the Board de Plage palette is if you really want the bronzers. Because I think that the highlights are actually quite similar. And to be honest, like if you apply these to the face, I can't say that I would be able to tell the difference. And I know, you know, it's a little bit facetious of me to say because here I am sitting with both of them, but I'm a makeup collector. If you're a collector, then by all means get both. I just wanted to share that with you. I do read and try to take your recommendations and questions as best as I can. Alright, so I think I'm just going to mix the bronzers together. So going into the palette, I'm just going to go into both of the bronzers. I'm using a smaller brush than I normally would to bronze because obviously the strips are really small. The bronzers are super nice. Much better than that BoxyCharm bronzer, huh? That was so bad. And I put it in my drawer. Why did I put it in my drawer? I need to take that thing out. It's so bad. The bronzers are super pretty. I like them. I do want to try just a little bit of the Anastasia Liquid Glow as a base for my highlight. It's pretty. It's not lifting my foundation, but I'm looking really dry. I'll definitely have to spray my makeup with a little bit of the HANGOVER-X. Alright, so I really want sort of a rosy glow, so I am going to take this shade. I cannot pronounce NARS names. It's the more pink highlight. Okay, so I'm gonna try my Anastasia blush kit and I'm going for a pink vibe, so I'm gonna go for this Mauve pink. I like this brush to apply it too. It's sort of a dual fiber brush, so it gives you a really light application. It's a Makeup Forever 122 brush, and I think this is supposed to be a foundation brush, but I have used it for all sorts of things because the first time I used it for foundation, I actually didn't like it for foundation. That is so pretty. I like it. It's time for the lip color and I want to try one of these Nudestix. I realized when I was swatching, and I picked up all my stuff, that there's actually 6 of them and I only swatched 5. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that one. So I definitely want to go for a more pinky nude. I think this is going to be the best option. This is the Montaigne shade. Who made this one? Donovan Gibb. I do watch his videos. He has like the most perfect lips for lip swatching. It's insane. So that's the finished look. I thought I was going shopping, but it is now 9:30 p.m. and the mall is open until midnight, but I do have this video to edit to make sure that you all have a video tomorrow per my schedule. So I will brave the mall tomorrow on Christmas Eve. I'll have to get up bright and early to make sure I can get my shopping done before they close. And yeah, let me just give you the rundown of all the products that I used that were new. The first one that I used was the eyeshadow palette, and I like it. But This is a very neutral palette, as you can see, and I went in straight for the midnight shade, which is, I would say, the brightest, boldest shade in the palette, and it wasn't that pigmented. It didn't show up too blue on me, and so I was a little bit disappointed by that. I know that I could get a very nice neutral look, but I wanted to go for something different, so I avoided the warmer tones, which I usually tend to gravitate towards, and I went for some of the cooler tones. It's a powdery palette. It's a powdery formula. I would say kind of like the Loreal formula is powdery. It does apply nicely, but again, I was very disappointed that this shade did not have the color payoff like it does in the pan. It was looking kind of gray, and even though we saved the look, it wasn't because of the eyeshadow palette. I wouldn't say it's bad quality. It's okay. It's not really a must-have, especially because you probably have all of these shades in your collection already, and the ones that are a little more unique, they don't really seem to transfer to the eye in the same shade. So I have to play with it a little bit more. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm not head over heels with this one. I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine. I'm glad I have it in my collection. I will definitely play with it a little bit more and follow up on like a follow-up haul or a rehaul or something like that, and let you know any more details as I use it a little bit more, because obviously I haven't used every shade and this was just a first impression. I did think it was really nice that they included warm and cool tones, because I know that cool tone lovers are kind of getting frustrated with all the warm tone palettes, so that's definitely a plus. The next item that we tried today was the Stila. It's not my first time using the Stila glitters, but it was my first time using this color, and this one is just as good as all of the others. You saw it applied. I like the look of it. When I swatched it, it had a purple blue shift, but now that it's applied on the eyes, it's definitely more blue. Now it could be because I applied it over a blue base, so just keep that in mind, but it is a really beautiful iridescent. It really packs a punch, and I think that it took this look to a more special level, so these are always an A+. And if you're looking for a more affordable dupe, then the ColourPop Supernova shadows are really, really great. The next thing that we tried was the Anastasia Liquid Glow Face Highlighter, and I mixed it with my foundation, and I did like the effect. I think it did change the foundation consistency a little bit, and it made it sit a lot better on my dry skin, because this L'Oreal foundation is a matte foundation, and those are foundations that I usually avoid because they don't look good on my dry skin, but with this mixed in, it looked really nice. I also found that applied to the tops of your cheekbones, over your finished face, so over powder and over your foundation, it doesn't really move the foundation, but it is really hard to blend out. It has a tendency to dry very, very quickly, so you have to work really, really quickly, and a little bit goes a long way. I like it. I'll have to keep trying it. I will definitely like to try this on a bare face on a day where I'm not wearing foundation and I'm just doing my 5-minute makeup look, 10-minute makeup look, because I have a tendency to use liquid or cream highlighters for that case because they sit really nicely on my dry skin. But so far I'm really happy with this one, and I'm really excited to continue trying it out. The next thing that I tried was the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer, and I am surprised that on first impression I actually really like this. I don't like the foundation. You saw it in a Products I Regret Buying video, but for some reason the concealer is a little bit better. I do like the color of it. I love the brightening effect. It's definitely high coverage, but it is drying, and so if you want to use this concealer, then I would suggest that if you have a dry under eye or under eye wrinkles or dark circles like I do, that you go in and you really prep the area, that you really hydrate and moisturize your eyes before going in with something like this, and like I did, apply and blend. Do not go all over the face and then try to blend afterward, because it dries way too quickly. I would say it almost sets itself. I did set it because I'm trying a new powder and everything else, but it was perfectly dry. Like when I touched it prior to applying the powder, it was completely dry, and so I would say that this is a self-setting concealer. It wasn't sticky at all, at least on my eyes, but again, I have dry under eyes and my skin tends to like soak up anything liquid anyway. So far I'm actually liking this one, and I'm surprised because it hasn't been getting great reviews. So far so good. I will definitely get back to you on a follow-up. The next thing that I tried out that was new is the Bord de Plage palette by NARS, and this is a really nice face palette. I like it because it has bronzers and highlighters, where the original NARS palette, this one only had highlighters, and they're beautiful highlighters, but so are these. I'm happy to have it in my collection. I like the look of the bronzers. I mixed the two today, but I'll definitely try them one at a time. I wish that the pans were a little bit bigger for the bronzer at least. For the highlight, I have no problem. For the bronzer, I like to use bigger brushes. Like for example, this big bad boy right here, and it's too big for this palette. So I had to use a smaller brush, and so it took me a little bit longer to bronze up my face. Plus I probably went a little bronzer happy, but I do like it. Jessica, you were totally right in recommending this one. I think it's a good one. If you don't already have the Banque de Sable palette, this is a really good option if what you were looking for were the NARS highlighters. You can see that it gives a very nice glowy finish. It melds into the skin, and if you spray a little bit of setting spray, it just all blends together really smoothly. It doesn't accentuate any texture or any fine lines or anything like that. It just gives a very beautiful natural, what's natural? But gives a very beautiful glow, and I'm liking this one a lot. The next one was the blush kit, and I've only used one of the blushes, but the one that I used was a good one. I like the little rosy glow that it gave. It blended nicely over my other products, and I don't have any complaints. I don't know how it's gonna wear throughout the day, but I do love the shade selection because you have a warm and a cool and a shimmer and a matte, and I think that that's just excellent to have options for both warm and more cool tone looks. So I really like this one. This is the one I chose to wear today, and I think it looks good. Last but not least, the lip products. I have to say that they go on very well, but they set very quickly. They go on very creamy, and you are able to get full opacity with the pencils. I only used the one, and it was a lighter shade, so I'm imagining that the darker shades are going to be even better. It does dry down, and there's no transfer, which is interesting. Like, I don't have the feel of a liquid lipstick. My lips feel a little bit powdery, I would say. They feel a little bit powdery, so it's my first experience with Nudestix lip colors. These are the magnetic matte lip colors, and so far I do like it. I don't think it's the most comfortable thing I've ever worn because it does have that powdery texture. I feel like if I licked my lips or something, it would be weird. Yeah, if I lick my lips, it feels really dry. I had to do it. I had to find out, but I'll continue wearing it. I am impressed that there's no transfer though. That's really cool. And I really wanted to try these. I've really wanted to try this brand, and so I'm excited to continue to play with these. If you have any questions about any of the other products, leave those in the comments section. I'm always happy to answer your questions, just like I did the one about the highlighting palette. So definitely keep your questions coming. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy Christmas Eve. And if not, I hope you're having an amazing weekend. Please don't forget to thumbs up this video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Feel free to introduce yourself as well. I'm happy to meet you. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you again very soon on my next one. Bye-bye.